So you might think that I'm quite the failure by losing that much money to actually just make a $1 return. That's a pretty bad return on investment, if you ask me. But it is necessary because I know that I'm gonna get this business up and running. And it's just a question of time until the 50K in loss turns into profit. But that's still a long way to go. And so the problem is that I racked up this 50K in the last 6 years of trying to figure out a way to start my business. I've done a lot wrong, and I think I'm getting better at doing things right. And so this is what I want to take you on the journey with me today, is how I actually got started 6 years ago and failed my way through 50,000 lost to actually making, now I have a couple of $100 made. And I think that the lessons from this are super helpful if you're just starting out, because then you don't need to repeat the same mistakes I did. So to be clear, the 50K split down into two cost buckets. The number one thing is I spent $15,000 in equipment, in courses, in software a lot, just to figure out what tools I can do, what tools I can use. And I've jumped on so many hype trains of like, oh yeah, you need to try this product and it's on sale because we're just introducing it. And so I bought it, and then I figured out, well, like, I don't actually like make it work so easily either. So I abandoned it again. So $15,000 comes from that side of the story, and then $35,000 at least, and that's more the bottom end, is opportunity costs. Money or the time that I spent the last 6 years building my business, it was for a great amount of time in part-time. So where I was a college student finishing up my degrees, or where I was working. So like part-time means it didn't lose me that much money, but the opportunity cost started rising fast when I lost my job last year. The opportunity cost is just stacking up now fast because I don't spend the time actually in a job starting a career. And so it's just getting more and more expensive every like month that I'm not spending in a job. And that's just to be real. And I think that number is overlooked a lot of times. And so it's probably on the like decent lower end of the of my opportunity cost, because if I really look back and all the years I spent in university trying to figure out already how to start a business, and then while I was working, if I've spent that time to get better at the career and get set up for the career, build a network more around the actual like study in the field I was in, I probably could have landed a better job by now. And that means that my salary would have gone up a lot more and a lot faster. And that's, I think, the biggest factor of where I think it could have fastly go up to almost like $75,000 to $100,000 that I'm losing if I like for the last 6 years of not preparing myself for a career. And so this is how determined I am to make this business work. And this is all the lessons I learned from those mistakes along the way, because it was a hard grind so far. I've spent hours and hours figuring this out, trying to figure it out on my own, trying to match the pieces from the online courses, which it's helpful, but it's also just like compressed knowledge, which you at some point you'll figure it out eventually too. So what are my 3 biggest mistakes that I do regret not changing earlier? The biggest one in the beginning is that doing too much research. So I love studying up. I love like researching. I love reading. I love watching YouTube videos to learn. And so I've consumed so much information, but the downside of it is that all that time I could have spent doing instead of researching. So my lesson for you is find one system and stick with it, because that is the number one thing that will get you going. It's the actions you take because you know that the proven system is going to work. And so that is the number one thing and driving factor in getting the business up and running, is taking the right actions and repeating that the whole time and not going astray because something is not working or because some shiny object is coming in the way. The next thing is overthinking and overanalyzing. I've spent a lot of hours in the YouTube studio trying to analyze, oh yeah, did that video perform better? And that's the part where I know it and I still do it, and I'm struggling with that. Because even on this channel now, I don't have a lot of views yet. I don't have a lot of subscribers. I have a few videos out, and I still keep checking the YouTube studio multiple times a day, which is so silly, and I know I shouldn't, and I still keep doing it. So the tasks you need to do are simple. The hard part is sticking with it. So don't overthink, re-question your steps. Don't do it. Just if you know you need to build a brand, just publish on YouTube, because YouTube won't grow if you don't post videos. That's truth. That is number one the case. No matter how much time you spend analyzing your videos, if you don't publish more videos, you're not gonna grow. It's not gonna happen. So overthinking, oh yeah, what, could I offend someone with that? Could that be misinterpreted or misread, misunderstood? Don't do it. Don't care. Start just by sticking to the routine, getting the videos published. Over time, you will see that they will get better. You will figure out what works and what doesn't. And it doesn't need to be not knowing what you should do and what you should focus on. So that's why, again, finding one system is so important in the beginning, because if you have a system that you know will work, and even if you spend some money on getting that system, try to hunt down one system and then just don't overthink it. Just take actions. Keep doing the reps. Keep putting in the effort. And then the third thing is thinking too big. So that's another thing that I did a lot, is when I first got introduced to starting a business, it was, to me, the only option to start a physical business, like a farm, because I come from a forestry and agriculture background. That's what I studied. That's what I have a master's degree in. And so the first obvious step is to start a farm, because most companies in the field start a farm. Then I did a bit more research, and the next thing I found was, online works a lot better than a farm, because then I don't actually need to have 2 million in debt because I needed to buy a farm. Then I can start out and make money right away. And I needed an app. So that was the next thing, and it was crazy, because then I started getting down to the unicorn world of so I'll get the business plan ready, I'll make a pretty app, and then I'll find a VC that will fund me, and then we'll just make millions. So at least that was my dream, and that was the beginning of my business journey, was then from a farm I went to an app. I have no experience with coding, at least not a lot. I took a coding class in high school, but yeah, I don't think that will get me far to develop an app today. So that was the big mistake of me trying to chase down that business idea down to the unicorn world. That was everything. Oh yeah, startups are where it's at. And everybody that I spoke with was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, and a startup is nice, and it needs to be a really big business to make you money. Looking back now, that has been the biggest misconception. I need to spend millions to grow a business. Either farm or app would have cost me quite a chunk of money. The second thing out of that is the idea that only huge unicorn startup is worth pursuing and you need to be the most innovative on the market, it's just like wrong understanding. It's just bad, because if you're a solopreneur, if you're wanting to bootstrap something, the idea is not to go down the innovation route, not to go down the route of what can make you the most money in the long term, where you don't even get checks today. And that's the part. So what I should focus on instead is focusing on just solving problems, one problem at a time, and not be visionary about it. The visionary part comes as soon as you start making the money first, and then you're getting more and more of a relationship with your customers that actually paid to have that product you have offered, because that's solving a real pain. Then you can start talking with them and how to like grow the business in the long term, which that's a lot smarter way to go. And so start small, because growing is easier than starting. And so that misconception of you need to grow something, like start something big, is already taking like 5 steps at a time in the staircase. Like, we're not trying to race to the top because we don't know how we got to the top then. And so we will be consciously taking 1 step at a time, but that will ensure that what we built is to last and not past or not dying out tomorrow. For you that you stuck around so long with me, I have an extra lesson for you, because that's another thing that I wish I would have done sooner, and that's why I'm starting this YouTube channel, is I'm look for an accountability group or body. This will help you so much to keep on that road, because starting a business is hard. You need to keep going even if you don't feel like it. You need to fight through the days of lack of motivation, of not seeing results, of maybe getting hateful comments. You just need to stick with it and grind it out. And that's so much easier if you're doing it together than by yourself. So if you need help with that, just write in the comments and I'm glad to help you out. If you want to know how the system works and what system I found has worked for so many others before, then this video right here is for you.